Hey, what's going on, guys? Psych Guys back out for the video. Wow, it's been a long time, I know. I'm so sorry for the delay. The pandemic, whoa, what's going on there? No, seriously though, we're gonna get over through. By the way, I hope you good people out there are staying safe, doing what you gotta do, grinding it out day in and day out. I think this is going to last for another couple months. I really do strongly believe that. Maybe even, I don't know, maybe a year, who knows. Until we get that vaccine and or herd immunity established, then I think we'll be in the clear. But until then, I think this is going to continue. Just my opinion, I don't know, what do I know? I'm a psych guy. Alright, speaking of which, this video, let's get to it. This video is going to be about someone who I thought I would not talk. I did a video or two back in the day, several months ago when I first started out this channel. I want to say it's my second and third video in this channel. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. But after I got done with those video series, I thought I'm never going to revisit her ever again. Boy, was I wrong, because she is back. I am talking about the one, the only Brooke Houts. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, if you're new to the YouTube world and whatnot, Brooke is basically a YouTube influencer, pretty famous, I guess more so now notorious, really known for one thing and one thing only, that got caught last year hitting her dog, hitting, spitting, pushing, shoving, flat out just abusing. So in this video, we're going to talk about denial. Denial is a defense mechanism where Freud, Sigmund, went ahead and sort of, I guess, coined it. He was the architect behind it, but his daughter, Anna, just really fine-tuned it and really took it to the next level. So we're going to talk about that. Realize also that denial, it can extend to the point, a concept called denialism, which we're not going to even address in this video. Denialism is more of a social construct. It involves a lot of arrogance and ignorance, and this is something that we're not going to address at all. But yeah, anyways, without further ado, check out my video. Let's go and begin, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Take care. Okay, if you don't know who Brooke Houts is, as I mentioned in the intro, she's the infamous YouTuber that accidentally uploaded a video where it showed her shouting, hitting, spitting, and pushing her dog, Sphinx, when all the big guy wanted to do was just play. I mean, I saw the video footage again just to prepare for this video, and the intensity for my discuss is about the same, if not heightened, since he accidentally uploaded this video about 8 months ago. And even though the LAPD Animal Welfare Services determined it didn't constitute animal abuse, this was obvious, as I pointed out in one of my first videos I ever made about this topic, that this totally didn't surprise me at all, because in these types of cases, just as in child abuse, it's going to take a lot for the organizations such as the LAPD Animal Welfare Services, or CPS, or whomever to classify this as abuse, because the last thing they want to do is start a precedent which may open up the floodgates to thousands and thousands of other cases, which means more work for an already understaffed entity. So yeah, it was obvious that they were going to rule in her favor. However, to anyone and everyone who watches that video, it's clear that it was abuse, and to think otherwise is just flat out not accepting reality. So before we get to the heart of my video, let me just give you a timeline of events to catch up to speed. So about 8 months ago, Brooke accidentally uploaded the video where she was caught abusing her dog on camera. About a month later, after that, the LAPD Animal Welfare Services publicly released their statement ruling in Brooke's favor that she did not abuse her dog, which, by the way, they made this press release, they put it out on a day, coincidentally, when the southeast coast of the United States was preparing to get hit by a hurricane. Then I want to say a month after that, or basically 6 months ago, Brooke puts out her lame apology video entitled "A Message for You," i.e., a fake apology vid to save face after I got caught video, that kind of thing, where she flat out insulted her entire audience, more or less by saying she has, well, let me read out what she exactly said specifically. She said, quote unquote, "I have never intentionally, willfully, or maliciously hurt an animal, and I never will." Yeah, but you did. Oh man, it was so fake and terrible. As of April the 19th, 2020, the date of my making this video, by the way, the number of total like percentage is a very pathetic 3.37%. Okay, Then around early to mid-November, this is back to the timeline, then around early to mid-November of last year, she puts out 2 unrelated videos about carving pumpkins, pumpkin carving, and a Ouija board story. And what is it? Out of all the topics you can pick, she put these two topics. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's, kind of Halloween theme related, right? Even though it was like after Halloween, whatever. I guess it's fine, I guess. But it was just so rather kind of just weird. I mean, as if she was trying to drop the Sphinx abuse topic entirely. Like everything is all hunky-dory and time to move on kind of thing. And I mean, maybe people forget. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and do these 2 videos not even talking about the dog. But here's the problem. Brooke joined YouTube about 6 years ago, and throughout the years, she's been trying to find her niche and has been all over the map with her content, tackling various topics from makeup tutorials, to story times, to pranks, to true crime vids. And it was only last year when she really blew up, when she started featuring her Doberman puppy in her vids. So in other words, it almost seemed as if people were more interested in the Doberman than Brooke, i.e., Sphinx pretty much became the star attraction of the channel and more or less replaced Brooke for being the star, let's face it. So yeah, those 2 unrelated videos about pumpkin carving and Ouija board story was just flat out cringe. But the real cringe started happening about a month ago when she completely resurfaced, almost like trying to completely rebrand herself. A new life, a new me. She put out a video titled Where I've Been, where she's trying to portray herself as a young woman and trying to normalize everything. Oh, don't worry, just me, Brooke. Your normal young woman putting on some makeup in the morning like a lot of women tend to do. Don't mind me, I'm just filming myself, putting on my makeup. So yeah, that's appeal to you women that I'm just like you. We can all relate, right? Gotta put the makeup on like we women do, right? Yeah, the problem though is that most women don't hit, spit, and push their dog. The best though is that she's in the video making asinine statements such as, "We've got a lot of catching up to do. We're gonna get past it together." And who can forget, "I'm just so grateful for anyone who's been on this journey with me. A, no one wants to catch anything up with you. B, unless your name is COVID-19, we're not gonna get past anything together. And C, no one wants to come along with you on your dumb journey." And if you watch that video, she lists pretty much every excuse in the book to why she has not been on YouTube except for the obvious one. The obvious one being that she has been missing in action because she's hoping to let time do its thing, and maybe people will forget about the Sphinx incident as time goes by. Well, guess what? No one is gonna forget about that, and I'm sorry. I mean, abuse on animals and children are things that society rightfully doesn't take lightly. She also tries to blame her mental illness, which I know she's mentioned before in her past vids she has, but don't buy into that. Coming from a double board certified psychiatrist, if say hypothetically she was having a real bad depressive episode, let alone, or any acute psychiatric phenomenon going on, okay? Acute, just right then and there that day, she would not have been in the state, or the last thing she would be doing is filming or making a YouTube video. Chick just got flat out caught, and animal abuse and cruelty is more personality, formerly known as Axis 2. It's more of a personality trait related to personality disorders. Again, Axis 2, part of sociopathic behavior. In other words, not something that you can blame on a one day, "Oh, I was going through a bad mental health day" kind of thing, because that sort of trait is with you and part of your your underlying persona, pretty much ingrained in you all the time. Was basically referred to as your personality construct. But Brooke is not my patient, nor have I ever evaluated her. This is just a disclaimer, by the way, but you catch my drift. Don't believe her BS. She got caught, plain and simple, and is only doing damage control and salvaging whatever gravy train that's left in this YouTube career of hers. It kind of reminds me of, how she was blaming her mental health, kind of like in the same vein where she was blaming Sphinx for not being properly trained. But if you watch a video that another YouTuber made, kind of like a documentary about Brooke. Sphinx seems the same and is still jumping and behaving the same type of way, like nothing has changed. What happened to the dog training classes? Did she even attend? Did she get the flyer? Just all excuses, all acting like she's tackling this and that, and all these things are being changed. When in reality, I'm not sure about others who have been following this case, but I really truly have my doubts. Oh, and that video, her Where I've Been video, as of April the 19th, 2020, again, the date of my making this video, the number of total like percentage is a very pathetic 4.88%. Whoa, a little bit better than the other one, right? Whoa, okay. All right. Now, if you think it can't get any worse, oh, believe me, it can. The past few weeks to present day, she's decided to include her boyfriend in her vids, and the vids are just complete garbage. Suddenly, Brooke all of a sudden is super religious, when in her past vids, by the way, she never spoke or talked or even gave any inkling of any sort of remote interest in theology. And her boyfriend doesn't help out either. If they're not making vids lecturing about God to your face, they're completely ignoring state lockdown orders by making these travel vids, in turn putting others in danger by their travels, or they're further insulting Sphinx by objectifying him and referring him to as the dog. Oh, and by the way, just for an FYI, she claims that she met her boyfriend just recently. However, if you go to the About section of the shared channel that they have together, it says joined June 2015. Great! Not only does she abuse dogs, but she also lies to us. Wonderful. So what is going on here? Why is she doing all of this? Simple. The psychological process referred to as denial. Now, according to Freudian psychology, and you'll hear a lot about him and his daughter on this channel, but there are about a dozen defense mechanisms, and denial is one of the most popular Freudian defense mechanisms, if not the most popularly deployed defense mechanism. Now, a defense mechanism, simply put, is a psychological process that our ego puts out when threatened from anxiety arising from unacceptable thoughts or feelings. In other words, defense mechanisms exist to protect ourselves from feelings of anxiety brought upon by the id or guilt brought upon by the superego. Certain defense mechanisms are more primitive than others, and denial is one of the primitive ones, and it's characteristic of early childhood development. Denial operates on an unconscious level and helps to ward off unpleasant feelings such as anxiety, which in turn makes life more manageable and helps someone feel better. In other words, individuals cope with stressors by not acknowledging their reality and or their consequences. This is basically denial. And denial can be a good thing. It could be protective, especially in a short period. Being in denial gives the mind the opportunity to unconsciously absorb shocking or distressing information at a user-friendly pace. This is rather normal. It's actually the first stage of Kubler-Ross's stages of bereavement. Grieving, right? Denial, right? I.e., they can't believe, an individual can't believe that a loss just occurred. They're denying it, right? So this is actually normal. It's rather healthy. It's normal. Now, it's unhealthy when it is prolonged. That's when it becomes pathologic. And Sigmund Freud argued that there are three types of denial. Number one, simple denial, where someone denies that something unpleasant is happening. An example is like a person with terminal cancer denying that he or she is going to die. Number two, minimization, where someone admits an unpleasant fact while denying its seriousness. A perfect example is like a person about to get divorced. He or she might, for example, brush the divorce and its impact on the children, for example, as if it's not that big of a deal. Okay, and lastly, number three, the third type of denial that Freud postulated is projection, where a person admits both the seriousness and reality of an unpleasant fact, but blames someone else. For example, going back to that cancer patient, he or she might insist that his or her doctor is providing inadequate care and that a different doctor could provide a different outcome. So that's a perfect example right there. Okay, now in Brooke's case, I can make the argument for all three going on. However, I mainly see, for the most part, complete and total minimization, okay? Not once has she admitted that maybe she did use excessive violence towards the animal. Instead, rather, each and every time the topic is brought up, she only refers to it as a mistake, in turn minimizing the severity of her actions. Her statements are clearly downplaying, making light of, and trivializing what she did by putting out a fake apology video, and then ignoring the topic and posting other unrelated vids, only to periodically come back to the topic without any full acknowledgement or acceptance. And putting up other vids such as travel or workout vids, only to come back to the unresolved issue of Sphinx and make a follow-up video entitled, "Let's Talk About the Dog," hereby objectifying him surely and clearly does not help out one bit. So where do we go from here? Can Brooke make a comeback? Though we tend to live in a benevolent, forgiving society, I don't know. It's going to be very hard for her to come back, honestly. Adults in general are highly protective of those that are more vulnerable and weaker than they are, such as children and animals, and rightfully so. And anyone who abuses either children or animals or both, or a lot of times they're forever banished in the likings of most everyone out there, even though if it may have been a mistake, according to them, or so they claim, or not that person's true intentions. The point is that Brooke did get caught, and people are just not going to forget about it. Now, with that being said, if I were Brooke's psychiatrist and she was one of my patients in therapy, this is what I would advise her. Normally, the type of therapy that I like to do, or at least used to like to do, I'm currently working in a job, and unfortunately now these days, they only utilize psychiatrists solely in the position of medication management, which I totally, absolutely can't stand because I miss doing therapy. But if I were doing therapy with Brooke and she were my client, normally in my sessions, I tend to take an indirect approach to where I would work with the client to facilitate that individual to enable him or her to kind of sort of come up with his or her solutions. However, in this situation, I would probably be a little bit more direct and concrete and flat out confront the elephant in the room that's frankly her denial. So these are 10 things that I would suggest to her. And I think the more of these that she follows, the higher the likelihood of success she'll have for attaining a proper comeback. Again, if that's even possible or not, I don't know. But let me quickly finish up this video and give you, as promised, what I think the 10 recommendations I would advise her on. Let's just call this, you know how you have the 10 commandments? Let's refer to this as the 10 demandments. Now, the first two revolve around safety and well-being. Okay, so number one, give that dog up, or at least in the short term if you want, on a temporary basis, until you truly get things going for you and things are much more stable on your end. I think the number one comment that I see on here in any of her and her boyfriend's videos is for her to give up that dog to a loving home. Look, some people may not be in that point in their lives to where they are able to take care of a dog. I myself would love to have a dog. However, I have the good sense to know that I work a lot, and it would be highly unfair and rather arrogant for me to take in a dog in my household knowing that I won't have the adequate time and ability to properly take care of him or her. Number two, get yourself stable. Now, I know that in your past vids, Brooke, you had been to a psych hospital and I believe you have been placed on medication, but make sure you have the proper mental help that you would need to promote and ensure that stability. And 1 month of being off and then coming back after just one month of therapy, it will not cut it. Trust me, therapy is a long, ongoing process requiring many, many, many months. So focus on that more so than focusing on taking care of your dog. Again, as mentioned in my first point, let someone else take care of that dog till you get back on your feet, back on the ground, right? Number 3, stop lying and do more trying. Look, I know it must be really embarrassing to be called out like that on a national platform. Most folks would just exit stage left, never to return back to such a highly visible platform such as YouTube. But if you insist, have the decency to be completely transparent. You're the last person to lie or backpedal. You had 300 plus thousand subscribers tune into you only to witness the horrors of your abusing your dog. Then you come out with a fake apology video only to continue to deceive everyone. Examples of this include you're claiming that you recently met your boyfriend when clearly you knew him at least since 5 years ago. Unless by chance 5 years ago you might have dated someone else back in the day who happened to have the same first name as your current boyfriend, Teal. I mean, what are the chances of that happening, right? Also, putting out travel vids, and when people started questioning you about it not being a good idea in this pandemic, you much later tried to backpedal and justify your actions. Oh, by the way, one sees a lot of blaming and justifying in classic denial cases, and here it's ever so apparent, with her blaming her mental state and the dog, and then backpedaling on anything that people call her out on. Oh, and stop trying to call the shots, like your girl's allowed or something. Number 4, owe up to your actions / stop calling it a mistake. A mistake is accidentally selecting B instead of the letter C for that last question on your science test. A mistake is you're going to town and eating more turkey than you should have during Thanksgiving. A mistake is not spitting, hitting, and or pushing your dog. This is not a mistake, nor is it normal behavior. This is quite simply abuse. Now, I can understand you're not wanting to say that you abuse your dog. Maybe it might incriminate you, even though the LAPD case is closed, more than likely, and you may have passed the statute of limitations, but at the least, own up and say that you more than likely engaged in excessive, unwarranted actions that is probably considered abuse to many people's definitions, and yes, I'm guilty as charged. So, something like that. Basically calling a spade for a spade. Oh, and don't say you didn't spit. Someone who bends down like you did and did that noise, that's spit. You and your boyfriend only look ridiculous trying to spin it to something else. Might as well say that you're giving Sphinx a glaucoma test. You know that puff of air the optometrist does to test for glaucoma? Might as well say that. Why not, right? I mean, you're so much anyways. Just go all the way then while you're at it. Number 5, stop with the God. Why would anyone want to hear about God from you? You know nothing about theological studies. You never showed any interest in God or Jesus at all, at least not in your vids. And now here you are on your high horse with your boyfriend lecturing people about God? Ain't nobody got time for that. No one wants to heed your lecture. This is not face down jumpsuit apparatus style. You're posting Bible verses on the description of your vids doesn't magically erase the horrific acts that you did towards your dog. If anything, your ego should be pinned down a notch, and you should be modest and humble to be given a second chance. And you all of a sudden acting all holier than everyone else doesn't look good. I mean, I'm not knocking religion down. Religion can definitely be a great protective factor and can for sure be beneficial in one's life, but keep that private and really focus on the main topic at hand. Sphinx and what you did to him, and you're accepting the horrific act. Speaking of Sphinx, this leads me to number 6. Stop with your other videos, including your travel, your workout, everything else. Nobody cares about your cheesy, welcome to our life, Brooke and Teal videos. The format is clearly a knockoff of something I'd see on MTV circa 10 years ago, with the cheesy, terrible music from artists I never heard of nor care about, while showing clips of you walking around and making Starbucks runs or lifting weights, mixed in with these cheesy, trite, inspirational quotes, as if they're like Sun Tzu wannabes all of a sudden. You're really known as the girl with the Doberman, and Sphinx really took your channel to where it's at. So don't insult him, focus on Sphinx, make most to all of your vids related to Sphinx. You know, even vids where it showcases you talking about your experiences in therapy or interviewing dog trainings or showing quick footage of some good educational tips that you learned how to properly train dogs. You know, the overall process while you're getting your life back together. In turn, which would help out Sphinx. Because I'm sorry, a video of your boyfriend trying to be cool and making a comment about how hot you are while you work out will not help Sphinx out one bit at all. Speaking of your boyfriend, this leads me to number 7. Fine, you can do whatever hanky-panky you want in the real world, but on YouTube, I would just keep him on the side, in the background. I mean, even though he seems harmless, he definitely is not helping out your situation. Just look at all the comments. Though I won't go to the extreme and say he's a psycho or a creep, and I don't, mind his being hyper or super talkative and rambling on. I mean, I'm the same way. But he's definitely not helping out your situation at all. He's rather hurting it. Like a perfect example was your opening about the dog video. There, Brooke only speaks for about 3 minutes while her boyfriend takes over, completely sabotages it, and speaks for a commanding 32 minutes. Wait, I'm sorry, who abused the dog again? I mean, from that video, anyone new to the situation would think it was the boyfriend. Yeah, that's just not gonna work. Shift the focus back onto you, Brooke, and don't deflect or turf the attention onto anyone else. It just makes you look even more guilty. We're frankly not interested in the chat, okay? Oh, and that's the other thing. Of course your boyfriend is gonna go ahead and defend you, right? What is he gonna say? You know, I watched that video, and Brooke, I have to say, this did look like abuse to me. Of course he's not gonna say that, and of course he's gonna minimize everything just as you have been doing. His ego is fused with yours. You're both essentially in the same position now, defending and minimizing your past actions. So his viewpoint doesn't add anything new. He's not objective enough to add value on the main topic at hand, which is your past treatment of Sphinx. Number 8, read your comments, at least the ones that seem constructive and are not insulting. I myself learned this the hard way. When I first started this channel out, I didn't know how to properly make videos. I still don't, right? I don't know. But, I mean, I'm a doc, not a YouTube expert. But in the beginning, I tended to make my videos, in the beginning, the intros and so on, they were kind of like long and rambling, and they're so drawn out. Like 5 minutes in, I was still rambling about talking, selling myself. Well, I learned quickly, very quickly, from a lot of people out there that this was not a good thing. And now I know no longer to not do that, okay? I knew that, don't do that style anymore. So in other words, thanks to the great folks out there who gave me great feedback, I was able to identify that problem and quickly fix it. And I know this is always going to be an ongoing issue as I progress here on YouTube in terms of trying to improve my channel. But anyways, likewise, with you, I suggest that, Brooke, that you do the same and listen to what the audience is telling you. Yeah, just read the comments and get the good feedback. Okay, number 9, take a breather and focus on yourself and doing what's best for you and your dog. I.e., if you really want to continue the relationship that you have between you and Sphinx, yeah, because YouTube's not going anywhere. I like the idea of volunteering at animal shelters, giving back. And if it means that you may have to be off YouTube, the YouTube platform for, like half a year to a year or so, then so be it. Whatever it takes, whatever time it takes to get you back on the right track. So yeah, don't be ashamed or don't shy away from having to take a breather and taking some time off this platform, because yeah, I mean, YouTube itself can be kind of stressful too with all the drama, and it also can be brutal also. Some of these folks, they just won't let go, so that also might be best for you and your mental health. Okay, last but not least, number 10, okay, if you absolutely want to continue making videos, if you don't want to take a break or anything like that, you absolutely insist on wanting to continue making videos, and you don't want to go anywhere, then I think a good idea is to show and prove yourself worthy to the YouTube community. And a lot of times, the only way to doing so is through actions, not words. I know in your apology video, you said that if that video was monetized, that all proceeds will go to a local animal welfare organization in Southern California. Well, how do we know if that's even true? I think if you really want to wow us, it would be by helping out Sphinx's brothers and sisters by donating all the revenue that you make from YouTube to anything animal/dog related organizations such as SPCA, animal welfare organizations, the local pounds, whatever. Like, I don't know how long you've had Sphinx, but let's just say that you've had him for about a year. So I think a year of you're donating the entire money that you're making, for a year, from YouTube, will show that you really are trying to change and really mean business. I would have said like 10%, but with something grave and serious like this, you gotta go full on. There's just no other way around this. And if you were to do that and show proof and a way for it to be verified, fortunately, I know LA is a big city, and I'm sure that there's a way for viewers to check and validate your generous actions. I know if you did that for a year, or again, how many months that you had Sphinx, I don't know exactly, then you would get at least my respect, because it's showing that you're actually putting your money where your mouth is, instead of just shouting out lines of God talk that, oh, by the way, insults a lot of people, especially those that don't believe in God. So yeah, this would be a perfect way to win not only myself, but I'm sure a lot of other people out there. I'm pretty sure, because you'll be going above and beyond. So yeah, that's what I would do. So these are my suggestions, and I hope that she really listens to them. I have a feeling that if not, she's going to periodically keep rehashing the same old sort of superficial apology, which is pretty much worthless. So yeah, just follow these techniques, these recommendations. Follow my recommendations. That's what I would do, at least, in your situation. So yeah, so that's that, and we are done. If you guys want to decide, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Peace.